Hey, this is Dr. Pete, and coming into a Monday morning, there were some questions, and I always like to address the academic issue in the sense that when students do work in class, sometimes they get into the checklist approach, and I've made videos about that. But one of the things is really kind of, I just do not like the fact that people can do their work on their phone. I don't like it. It always has grammar issues, and I is lowercase, and it's hard to research. I just don't see how you do it. I just know how I type on a keyboard, and I guess there's just better people than me that know how to do things. But I just think the quality drops, and then what happens is certain assignments at certain schools, like for example, you have discussion posts, and some schools are like this is an academic piece of work, and this is an academic discussion. Other schools are like it's just not. I don't even understand why we grade it. It's just like just throw something out there and you get a grade, and it's normally 100%. So it doesn't reinforce the academic work. So if you're used to talking in a conversational tone, like I believe that this should be happening, or in business or government, whatever, fill the topic in, it becomes a mixed message, meaning you think that, well, I know something, so I should be able to share it, but you're not really researching it. You're not writing academically. You're not checking for grammar, APA, all these things. And then when you go to write something that may look like it, like an assessment, it might be a four-part assessment and it looks like a discussion post, then you keep writing that way. Or the student will sit there and make that mistake, like, oh, well, this is just a discussion and I'll just throw out whatever I want. So that becomes a big issue very quickly. And then it doesn't reinforce that when you write a paper, then you start writing as you talk, or you don't worry about APA, or you kind of have a sense of it, but you're not really sure, or you get rushed and you start doing the internet website searches versus the library, Google Scholar, or the textbook, things that are academic. So I think there's another issue is academic means you're writing something because you're researching ideas and you're analyzing and you're synthesizing things. You're bringing it together, and by not doing that, what happens is people start getting confused and they start thinking academic just means I'm in an academic class and I turn whatever in. And that's not really what it means. So, like if you say an academic source, typically you have authors and it's in a journal or it's in some type of research or they develop some like a book, an article, something like that. That tends to be indicators of um, academic quality. Whereas some people will sit there and think academic just means, oh, well, I went to a website and I looked it up, and it's something.com, and it's like, well, that's not probably the best source. That's where some of the confusion comes in. And then the one that really I understand where people are coming from, but like for example, I have a lot of expertise in just a variety of things. That doesn't mean it that I don't research things. Like if I'm in class doing a paper and you say, well, but I was doing this and I was doing that, or I can drop the veteran card. Well, I was a veteran and this is what we did. That's all fine and good if it's a discussion post and maybe the school doesn't really worry about academics. The bigger key is relating those experiences with research or academics and bringing it together. That's probably the best thing. But when you write a paper, you don't want to say, well, I don't really need to research because I already know the answer. Well, then the question is, why are you in school? If you know everything and you can't learn anything because you already understand and you lived it and you're on the streets and the hard knocks, then why are you here? And you say, oh, well, I have to get this piece of paper. It's a checklist. Well, it's not a checklist and it's not a piece of paper. It's the process of getting that piece of paper. Writing's a big part of that. And first time you blow out an email that shows you don't know how to spell or illiterate, it becomes a big problem pretty quick. And I've made videos on that as well. The next problem is research. If you think you don't need to research anything, then there's going to come a day when you do because you don't know, and you're just going to say, well, maybe I can make this up, or maybe I can relate it back to this, or when I was in band camp, this is what we used to do. I mean, it gets old after a while. You have to be able to do that research. And if you don't do the first two things, it's really hard to develop your analysis. Now, your experiences will define how you write the paper, and being military, for example, and I throw that card down. Uh, yes, that does influence how I see things. It influences how I write things and analyze things and develop things. These are all true statements, but it's not but other people have those experiences too. So just because I experience it doesn't mean it's right. It doesn't mean it's the answer. It doesn't mean that it doesn't require research or support. It just means that that's my perspective, and it may be very valuable, but at the same time, it may be something that's just enhances what I research. So what I try to tell students are take everyone comes to a class with a certain amount of education, motivation, um, experiences, and they're all valuable things. So you should embrace that diversity and respect other people's diversity and all these talents and experiences and education. You should respect all those things, but don't believe yours is more important than theirs. And don't substitute that for academic work. And be very careful to say, how do I use my frame or my view of things, my bias, my prejudice, my uh, whatever you want to call it, the worldview, my gestalt, how I see things. Don't confuse that for actually doing research and actually doing academic work. And the day that you sit there and think, well, I'm just here to get a piece of paper because I'm so smart and I'm so gifted and experienced, I'm just getting a piece of paper, then you've really missed the whole point of it. And once you miss that point, then you do minimal work, you do bad work, you don't do the best you can do, you don't get the most out of it. It's your education. I always say make the most of it because sometimes you only get one shot at it. And once you're done, what you do afterwards reflects not only on yourself, but it reflects upon the school and other students. So that's very, very important. So anyways, a little bit of information. Hopefully that makes sense, and I think it'll address 2 or 3 students that had emailed me and called. I appreciate it, and best of luck.